Oh, there we go. Hi. Spectacular, right? That episode was written by Emmy-nominated executive producers Stephen Levinson and Joel Fields, and Emmy-nominated executive producer and director Thomas Kail. And now for the reason you are all here tonight, our featured conversation. We are honored to have with us tonight our moderators. She runs the Contenders series during awards season for Deadline. Please welcome Madeline Hammond. He is the chief film critic for Deadline and probably one of the very most respected awards analysts and pundits in the industry. Please welcome Pete Hammond. They're a Hollywood power couple in their own right. And now for our extraordinary stars. He is Emmy-nominated for lead actor, outstanding lead actor in a limited series or made-for-television movie for the role of Bob Fosse. Please welcome Sam Rockwell. She is nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Limited Series or Made-for-Television Movie. Please welcome Michelle Williams.
Amazing, and look at this crowd here. How many had already seen the entire series? And you're here. Right. So cool. That shows the power of this, which I thought when I heard that FX was doing this, Fosse Verdon, I thought, wow, that is something I didn't expect to see. You know, it's based on a book by Sam Wasson Fosse, and it's a very much an equal thing here. But when you commit, when both you and Sam commit to a television limited series like this, which is about 7 months of filming, was that it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a month of rehearsal.
What was it about invading these characters as these real life people that appealed to you that made you make that kind of commitment?
I don't know, I think at one point we looked at each other and we're like, what the fuck did we get ourselves into? It was like a 7-day-a-week job. I mean, not to be overly whatever, but it was a lot.
Well, the funny thing about this too is when you sign up for it, how many scripts were there? One?
Well, we had like one, and then
it changed a lot.
It changed a lot.
So you sign up to one script, and you look at the one script, and you're like, well, I can maybe do that. and then you like sign your name, and then you're like, oh, I guess I'm doing it. And then you get the next script, and you're like, I'm how old? Oh no! I don't know how to do that. I'm not.
They didn't tell you this in the meetings that you had, apparently.
Singing, dancing, heart attacks, cigarette.
I want to ask about that. How did you guys prepare? Who did the research, and did you guys practice dancing together, separately, or a little bit of both?
We did. I mean, Michelle danced quite a bit more than I did, and she had to sing when I didn't have to sing. But we did do some dances together. Yeah, we did. Well, the Lola dance in episode 2 was very involved. Yeah.
And then we did like early preliminary dance rehearsals together when they were just sort of like laying the groundwork for us and trying to teach us sort of the basics of the choreography. We would dance together, and then as we sort of got our own dances within the series, they split us up and we would be in separate rooms.
This is one of those performances where you do it all. You sing, you dance, you act, you age, as you indicated there. It is the full thing, and you clearly, you may not remember, I do certainly, she was on Broadway in Cabaret, which was a revival, and and Sam, I hear that you actually self-taught yourself dance moves by watching the movie Footloose.
I watched a lot of James Brown and Risky Business, and it's tried to. I actually just messed up my ankle trying to break dance in Atlanta at a club after a couple of cocktails. And it's funny, didn't hurt myself during Fosse Verdon, but in a club in Atlanta.
Well, I'm from Atlanta, and that will happen.
That will happen.
I know the club you were in.
Yeah. But you just like bullshit dancing when I was a kid, nothing formal. Yeah.
They just watched episode 7, which was a great episode. I believe it's nominated for, I think, directing, a whole bunch of different categories in and of itself, but so many of these episodes are. But this really is Fosse Verdon. It's a different way of telling the show business story, the two of them and their relationship, which is so unique, you know, and how do you approach that, and how can you make yourself empathetic to that and relate to that and connect to that?
To their story, I mean, well, I think it starts with research, right? Like as soon as I got the job, Sam was on board for longer than I was, but as soon as I got the job, I just went into geek mode, and you read all the books and you watch all the clips and you listen to these audio files, and so I always think of it as like you build this sort of structural framework. It's like you build like a skeletal system, and that's how you begin, and you just go like bone by bone, and you make something that's solid. And then after that, then you can start to like fill it with like blood and air and like life. So for me, the beginning is just that structural work, and then as things start to sort of become more clear, then you start to sort of just try things. You know, we would, like when we had our early rehearsals and we would like read the scripts out loud, we would be like, oh, I'm doing this as Michelle. Like, I don't want you to think this is not how I'm gonna do it. This is just like Michelle saying the lines, because I'm not ready to like be Gwen yet.
We'd be like, are you gonna do Bob? You gonna do Gwen? You gonna do Bob? No, I'm not just doing Sam. I'm just doing Sam.
Because it takes a long time to build up the
courage too.
Courage and all of the like physicality that goes into, you know, we have to learn how to, you know, where their tongues are placed and how they're holding their heads and like what their posture is. So all of these architectural things you have to build, and then you have to start to like breathe the life through it. And it takes a long time to feel comfortable enough to do that in front of other people.
Yeah.
You both have played real life characters before, living people, not so living. I mean, a brilliant performance that you were Oscar nominated for, My Week with Marilyn Monroe, another 50s icon. Like, you should applaud for that. Gwen Verdon. We just saw Sam get another Oscar nomination. He won the year before for playing George W. Bush and making him fun.
Wasn't easy.
Yeah, no, those are very famous. Marilyn Monroe and George Bush. I mean, everybody has an opinion on how they talk. You know? So this we had a little more leeway, but they're famous. They're probably more famous for their dancing.
So Sam, let me ask you, what was it about Fosse that you didn't know? I mean, obviously you had some sense of him, but going into this character, what surprised you the most about him?
I didn't know what an incredible dancer he was when he was younger, and how much, and his relationship with Gwen was really, I didn't know a lot about that they were sort of symbiotic. They had this kind of like almost like twins. I've said that before, but they were like twins. They were really, they needed each other.
Yeah, like a yin and yang. I almost got that tattoo for you.
Yeah.
It was astounding. She was asking me before we walked on here, what is your favorite episode? Without pausing, I said 5, because that was so extraordinary to watch their relationship go, where they could actually hurt each other in such a way, and then come full circle with each other. And it just showed the need they had for each other, and the way they were sort of the same person in many ways. Very unique relationship.
Well, I always thought they had, you know, they shared this similar history, this similar childhood. They were both abused, and
damaged childhood.
Yeah, they were both damaged, and they came out of it in different ways. And Bob's inclination was to sort of rummage through the depths and like dig around and poke into it, and Gwen's was like go up and out and like sort of not to try and move away from it and pretend that it didn't exist. But it came from the same place. So I always felt like they understood each other, which is why we would talk about them as twins, as yin and yang, as like light and dark. But they understood each other in a way that maybe nobody else could.
Especially through the work. And that's the one thing that was the constant, even though both of you had your own game playing and manipulation, the respect for each other's work, I think, was unwavering. And I think that's what really kind of showed in both of your characters. When you guys were developing these characters and you had to really get into the nitty-gritty of how Fosse and Verdon were, what was it that you had to pull from? Like, what was it when you realized how you guys worked together that brought it out in each of you?
I don't know. gosh, I mean, we were. What do you think?
I think that they were both perfectionists, and I think that's what Bob and Gwen really bonded on, is that they had never met some people who worked harder than they did. They would say that about each other. Like, Gwen would say that the only person she really wanted to please was Bob. She's like, I don't care about the audience, I just want to please him. And Bob would say the thing about Gwen is that she's so relentless, and like that's like the thing I admire the most about her. And I feel like
we had a mutual respect as me and Michelle had this kind of, we were both had these iPod speakers in our little earphones in our ears, and we're both kind of actor nerds, me and Michelle, and we bonded in that way, sort of being theater nerds. And Michelle's she's such a great actress, but so easy to be around too. You know, it's like it was just fun to. It's like we were talking earlier. It was really like being in this like battle together or something.
fun torture.
Yeah.
We had fun torture time.
Yeah, it was a trip.
But we had each other.
We had each other.
Yeah.
And we'd look to each other and be like, how you doing? You're all right? And we're like, yeah. It was.
For Christmas, I got Sammy oxygen. Poor guy was like smoking all the time, and you're shooting, it's like so late at night, and I was like, I know exactly what to get him.
You know, Sam, speaking of that, I think that cigarette should have gotten like a credit. Don't you think that dangling cigarette?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a character. Yeah, sure.
When you look at the Emmy nominated, I have to do a big shout out here to the makeup and the hair people who have just done an extraordinary work here, and I know that you worked very closely with them in creating that. Is that important to you as an actor to do that?
I mean, it's such an intimate relationship because they're the first people that you see in the morning, and they are touching your body all day long. And so you really hope that they're people that you like and that you want to have close to you. And I didn't know the woman who did my makeup, Jackie Rosado. I didn't know her before the job started. But we became, thick as thieves by the time it was over. And Nicole Bridgeford, who did my wig, she and I had done another job together. But I trusted them and I relied on them because I'm not capable of watching my own work or seeing myself on the monitor or seeing a picture of myself. So I really rely on those people to tell me how it's being perceived and like what it looks like. And I just trusted them. We all just loved each other and took care of each other, and so like it not only was like creatively, it was very satisfying. You also have to have people that you can say like it's not quite right yet. Like when you look in the mirror, you have to be able to be for a long time. You have to be critical, and then when things start to get right, then you can acknowledge them and say like, great, we got that. Now like let's move on. But like you have to be able to endure a kind of like a tolerance for you have to have a tolerance for failure. to keep getting and to know that you'll get to a place with like love and kindness and like a very supportive work atmosphere, but you have to tolerate like the middle ground where you're like, it doesn't look like her, like I look like Bozo the Clown, like what is with this, like it's too red and it's too like fluffy and like whoa, and like this eyebrow shape is like not the 50s, I think it's more the 40s, and you just have to like get through all of that. So you have to be like able to collaborate really intensely with somebody, and that's what I had with the girls that I worked with.
Yeah,
and you shave your head completely,
every
right?
Morning, every morning shave my head, yeah.
Did you enjoy that comb-over experience?
It was a lot. But we had, Chris and Debbie, they were amazing, and they were nominated for Emmys. They're amazing. It's a very intimate experience. You're in there,
But when you see it, and when you're and you're satisfied with it, how does that help you even take the character further and cement it in your mind?
It makes all the difference. I mean, forget about it. We had the cyborg on our head for the young Bob and Gwen. Remember the cyborg thing? What do you call that? That's what I call it. You don't need it. I'm 50. I needed it, but it's like a facelift that like pulls your. What would you?
The lifts.
Describe that thing.
They lifts.
Lifts, yeah, and they're pulling everything back under the wig, yeah.
It's kind of like Gloria
I would start every
Swanson.
day with Advil. I would just take like a preemptive dose of Advil, and then just all day long you're just popping it because you've got like something attached over here and something's like pulling around over here. And
Let's talk for a second about costumes, Michelle, because Melissa Toth, you did a great job on that. I heard it was amazing. Talk about the transformation.
Good Lord, 4 decades or
4 decades.
Yeah.
And I heard Nicole Fosse was very involved in that
Yes.
and had actual real costumes of Gwen's. And
Nicole Fosse was very invaluable, and Tommy Kail, our fearless leader, we couldn't have done it without him.
Yeah, Nicole is actually a co-executive producer of the show.
That's right.
And so what did she give you, and what didn't she give you, more importantly, that made it better for you as an actor on this?
She never said no, my mom wouldn't do that, or like no, my mom wouldn't say that. So she never inhibited me. She would just sort of come in with like a helpful hint, like, what if you took some vitamins with your white wine? And we never found a place for it, but in every scene I was like, what about if I took vitamins with white wine? I never found a place.
How did she help you with Bob?
Oh, just all kinds of. Well, she choreographed the dance number between me and Nicole in episode 8, but she just little details. She would tell us stories, very intimate stories about Bob and Gwen. Stuff that we can't reveal here, but really intense stuff about them.
give her a lot of credit. That had to be hard for her to watch and to be involved with. So that's really good. You had her as a resource. It's invaluable, I think, in fact. I don't think you could have captured them without the help of that to make it so authentic.
Absolutely true.
It's so interesting to me, too, after I watched it, I had to go straight to Wikipedia to see how much of it was true and how it worked out, and it's all true.
The wedding ring thing was true. That was Nicole. He took the gum wrapper and made an engagement ring for Gwen. That's how he proposed to her. That's a true story.
Wow, and the whole thing, and that they remained married this entire time while he was around, with every dancer and everybody, and she accepted that. It's such an interesting kind of dynamic that they had in this marriage.
I mean, I don't think that she necessarily accepted it. I think she broke free and she lived her independent life and she had other partners. I think that there was, and they were parents. They were parents of Nicole, and so there was a bond that was never going to be broken between them, and also an indestructible love. But I do think of Gwen as being a hero and a survivor, because at some point she said, I can't do this anymore. Like, I want to be in your life in some way, but I don't want to be in it in a way where I can, where the shrapnel's going to hit me all the time. So yes, they stayed married, and yes, they stayed friends, but she really tried to break free of a certain cycle of addiction.
Yeah. And seemed to be fiercely protective of those she loved, as you could see the way she was with Nicole. Was that one of the things you admired most about her as a character?
I think that, and the thing that whenever somebody would come up to me and say, I knew Gwen, I danced with Gwen taught me something, I would say she was just the kindest woman that I ever met. And she had her faults, and we go into them. And I always think that about her, her spirit was just so generous. She just wanted to give and give and give. Or somebody said to me, I was Andrea Martin. I was up at Juilliard, and I was taking a lesson from my dialect teacher, and she was taking a lesson from her dialect teacher, and she was like, I saw Gwen Verdon perform, and the thing about her, she was just so generous. She didn't hold anything back. She didn't apologize. She was unabashed and reaching for everyone in the audience. And I just think about that spirit exists off stage also. She was just so generous.
And Sam, in terms of Bob, I mean, that whole idea of you doing the stand-up as in the Lenny Bruce thing was a brilliant idea, first of all, in carrying the story forward and doing it. And it looked like you were having a great time doing that.
I had a great time. Yeah, Joel and Stephen came up with that construct, and it was really fun. And we got some people to do some comedic punch-ups, and I just went to town. Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah.
Well, it's such a good device to explain things about your childhood that we might not have known.
Yes.
It was very illuminating.
Yes.
Creepy, in fact.
Very creepy.
Super
Yes.
creepy.
Yes.
Good creepy, I guess.
Yeah.
I was yelling at the TV screen a lot at Bob Fosse, because he was never satisfied with this brilliance that he had. He just couldn't accept it, and he kept going into the darkest places.
Pathologically, so yeah, he was very tortured. Yeah, he would stay up all night on speed, trying to choreograph stuff. Yeah,
I guess that's what the genius of it, and are you two guys as actors ever satisfied ultimately, or do you want to go back? I know you told me you haven't watched this and you don't watch.
We're both workaholics. I mean, we're both we get after it, so to speak. I mean, we don't mess around. We don't. We're hard workers, both of us. I think we've had that in common. Yeah.
And you've played so many what I call anti-heroes, so great characters that get redeemed in the end, but you don't make it easy for the audience, which is great. And it's
We're bringing those back. We're bringing anti-heroes back.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, Francis McDormand's bringing them back. We're bringing them back.
And Bob Fosse's an anti-hero in a lot of ways.
Right.
In a lot of ways, right?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Yeah, we don't have those. Like 5 Easy Pieces is an anti-hero. We don't have a lot of those these days.
No,
Yeah.
make it too easy for the audience to like you, and here you
Alice
have.
doesn't live here anymore. That's
Right.
But
Sam, I gotta just ask, when he would have these highs and these lows, and it seemed like almost like a heroin addict looking for a fix. As soon as he got an award or was finished with something, he had to have the next thing.
That's right.
That sense of urgency, it just put you on the edge of your seat, and I'm sure, Michelle, your character must have been equally scared. There was always this danger.
Yeah.
You agree in the character?
Absolutely.
I mean, look at him. He won, 2 Tonys, 3 Emmys, and an Oscar within 12 months.
And still wanted to jump.
You didn't see that episode? Yeah. It's right on the. I love that device, by the way. The writing, and going like just 373 days to this and that.
The book. Yeah.
Yeah. How did the book help you? So you have the scripts, as you said, you got one or another. Did you read the book beforehand and sort of get?
Yeah, the book was the seed, but then having Gwen be the counterpart was Stephen and Joel's elaboration and made that, and so we brought that research in, and that's when Michelle stepped in, and we wanted to give Gwen her due and make it and it's more interesting story too that way.
Oh, so much more interesting. And to watch Gwen, I thought it was very interesting. She wanted Chicago so badly, and when he was turning away from it and everything, but she knew she had to have it.
It's still running on Broadway. So
It's the longest running American musical.
so she was right.
She was and that's the revival.
Yeah. That's true about the glitter. They've gotten into her vocal cords. That all really happened. Yeah.
Well, the glitter in the operation. But Michelle, the feeling that the clock is ticking as a dancer and knowing that she has to do this now, she can't wait 2 more years, who knows if her body will hold up. I thought that was fascinating just to watch. That scene where she's breathless and turns away, that was heart-wrenching.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. It was hard to figure out how to make somebody who was the greatest dancer of her time not suddenly like a klutz, to articulate this story point about her aging. Because like when, Gwen Verdon ages, she doesn't age like the rest of us do. She ages in the way that she ages. So to figure out how to make this dance look and feel like her, but with some impediments that didn't look sort of suddenly klutzy or something was...
I love your older Gwen in episode 8. That's my favorite. I love that. That's
It's
my,
nice being old with you.
Yes, nice being old with you. That's my favorite. That scene in the restaurant is one of my.
Sammy, I look forward to getting old with you.
Yeah, me too.
You two, and actually, you two had never worked together before, but you travel the same roads, plays, things, and you had never worked together, so you didn't have that kind of shared experience. Now you do. So, are we going to see a sequel
Hopefully, yeah.
in a different way?
Stage or screen, we'll see.
I told Sammy this, but I missed him so much that I rewatched Moon on the plane on the way over. I want to see Sammy.
What I was